There is a sacred truth buried beneath every longing, every silent prayer uttered into the vastness of night, every whisper of there must be more. And that truth is this: reality bends to belief. The universe does not yield to certainty, it dances to the rhythm of your faith. Pretend it's real until it is not pretending anymore. Not because you are lying to yourself, but because you are finally telling the truth that is yet to unfold in form. The soul knows before the world sees. Before your eyes recognize it, before your hands hold it, before your circumstances shape it, the seed of your vision already exists in the invisible. Every reality you yearn to inhabit is already present in the unseen. You do not summon it by proving your worth. You summon it by aligning with its frequency, by becoming the space where its possibility is welcomed. To pretend is not to deceive, it is to remember. To awaken the ancient knowing that what you believe is not born from imagination, but from intuition. The child who plays doctor does not think he is faking it, he is being. The girl who spins in circles as a dancer is not pretending she is embodying. And so must you return to the innocence of inner knowing, where imagination is not delusion but prophecy, where vision is not distant but dormant. Life will reflect what you most consistently embody. If you walk as if you are loved, the world will bend to meet you with love. If you speak as if you are guided, the signs will flood your path like a river remembering its course. If you breathe as if you are free, the chains that bound you will dissolve, not because they broke, but because you realize they were never real. The ego wants evidence before surrender. The soul knows surrender is the evidence. Every moment you spend doubting your worth, you strengthen a reality that never belonged to you. Every time you shrink to fit the expectations of others, you deny the light that came here to expand through you. You are not here to survive your existence. You are here to sanctify it. You are here to bring the formless into form, not by force, but by being the container where miracles are no longer impossible. Close your eyes. See the version of yourself that already lives the truth you desire. See her walking not with hesitation, but with peace. See him speaking not to be validated, but to be real. Feel the version of you who no longer begs for permission, but breathes freely as if the universe has already said yes, because it has. The moment you imagined the life you wanted was the moment the divine whispered, "This is already yours." Not yours to chase, but yours to allow. The gate is not locked. The road is not blocked. The voice that tells you otherwise is not the truth. It is the echo of an unhealed world trying to keep you small. But you are not here for smallness. You are here for expansion, for remembering, for rising again and again into the fullness of who you've always been beneath the noise. Pretend then, not from fear, but from faith. Pretend you are already whole because you are. Pretend you are already loved because you've never been anything else. Pretend you are already guided because the path beneath your feet knows exactly where it is taking you, even when you do not. When doubt creeps in, smile gently. You are not the doubt. You are the sky that holds it. Let it pass like a bird across an endless blue, seen, noticed, but not chased. When fear speaks loudly, do not argue. Listen with compassion, and then return to your truth. You are not the trembling voice. You are the silence beneath it. You are not the storm. You are the vastness that allows the storm to pass without clinging to it. Everything you seek is seeking you not because you are desperate, but because you are destined. The moment you decided to act as if it were already real, you began vibrating at the level of its becoming. The moment you stopped asking, when will it come, and began saying thank you for its arrival, the world began shifting on your behalf. The ancients knew this. The Tao spoke of becoming by releasing. Jesus spoke of faith as a seed, small yet powerful enough to move mountains. Rumi wrote that what you seek is seeking you, not in the distance, but within your breath. And so I say to you now, stop waiting for proof to believe. Believe, and the proof will arrive. Walk as if the love has already found you. Breathe as if the healing has already occurred. Speak as if the purpose has already been made clear. Move as if your worth is unquestionable. Love as if there is nothing to lose, because love in its highest form is never lost. The world may call you naive, let them. The world may say you are foolish, smile. They do not yet understand that pretending in its purest essence is remembering that living as if is the most powerful act of creation. That faith is not waiting for the invisible to materialize, but knowing that the invisible is already the most real thing there is. You are not faking it, you are feeling it. You are calling it into form not by force but by resonance. And one day, not far from now, you will look around and realize that what you once imagined has become what you now embody. The life you once dreamed is the life you now live. The peace you once chased is the peace you now radiate. Not because something outside of you changed, but because you remember that all things begin within. And the moment you stop doubting, stop delaying, stop waiting for confirmation from a world that cannot give what it did not create, that moment you stepped into the miracle. Not the miracle outside you, the miracle that is you. So pretend it's real until pretending becomes unnecessary. Until belief becomes being. Until your inner world has so completely shaped your outer that there is no longer any difference. Only presence, only love, only truth, only the endless now in which all things are not only possible, but already happening. Jetsibiti Danoi, there is a quiet magic that unfolds when you begin to live not from what you see, but from what you know within. When you rise each morning and step into the day, not with eyes seeking evidence, but with a heart trusting the invisible order that moves galaxies and guides your breath. This is not blindness, it is sight beyond the veil. It is the vision of the soul which sees not with logic, but with light. And so you begin to live as the person you are becoming, not someday, not if, not when, but now. You speak with the voice of someone who has already healed, because healing is not a destination, it is a decision to release what no longer serves your expansion. You wear peace like a garment, not because everything around you is calm, but because everything within you has ceased resisting. And in that surrender, the illusion of separation fades. You realize there is no gap between you and the life you desire, only the illusion of one. It is not time that creates the bridge, it is presence. And presence is not achieved, it is remembered. It is the natural state of your being once all the noise has been softened, once the distractions have been dissolved, once the ego has bowed to the greater truth of who you are. You are not here to chase outcomes. You are here to embody frequencies. You are not here to manipulate circumstances. You are here to align with the divine rhythm that already knows the way. The more you pretend it's real, the more you collapse the illusion of distance between you and your destiny. You stop walking toward your dreams and start walking with them. They are no longer in the future. They become the path beneath your feet. Pretending, then, is the soul's way of rehearsing its truth until the body catches up. It is not deception, it is preparation. It is the sacred act of saying yes to the unseen before it becomes the seen. When you walk as if you are loved, you allow love to find a home in you. When you speak as if you are guided, guidance begins to flow through your words. When you bless your life as if it is already holy, you sanctify it with your attention. Do not wait for permission to live as your highest self. That permission will never come from the world because the world is still waking up to its own light. But you are awake now. You have tasted the eternal. You have felt the subtle pull of your soul calling you home. You have glimpsed the truth behind the veil. And that truth does not require validation to be real. It only requires your devotion. Live as if you are already what you came here to become. Speak as if every word you offer shapes reality because it does. Move as if the ground beneath you is sacred because it is. Everything is energy, and energy responds not to your effort, but to your essence. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are willing to become. And so pretending is the sacred act of being now who you once thought you had to wait to be. Pretend not as an act of desperation, but as a dance with destiny. Pretend as the earth does when it trembles with spring before a single bud has bloomed. Pretend as the sky does when it blushes with dawn before the sun has even risen. Pretend as the soul does when it hums with peace before peace has entered the room. You are not a beggar of miracles. You are their birthplace. Every time you choose faith over fear, alignment over anxiety, truth over performance, you become a living altar for the divine to express through. This is the secret of creation. You become it first in essence, and the form follows. The form is never the origin. It is the echo, the shadow, the response. Pretend not to impress the world, but to impress upon your own consciousness the truth that you are no longer available for anything less than your soul's full expression. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. This is remembering that humility is not shrinking. It is standing in the fullness of your being without needing to explain it. You do not need to justify your joy. You do not need to apologize for your clarity. You do not need to dilute your light to make others comfortable in their forgetting. You are not here to convince the world to believe in you. You are here to believe so deeply in what is becoming within you that the world begins to believe in itself again. So let it all be real now, the peace, the purpose, the power. Let it be real, not because someone else said it is, but because your soul has declared it. Let it be real in the way you sit, in the way you listen, the way you walk into a room and change the frequency just by being. Let it be real in the softness of your breath and the steadiness of your gaze and the silence you no longer need to fill. Let it be real not in performance, but in presence. Not in pretending for the world, but in pretending with the universe, co-creating the truth until the illusion fades. And it will fade. Slowly at first, like mist dissolving in the Sunday, and then all at once, like a curtain drawn back from a window you didn't know existed. Suddenly, the life you once dreamed is the life you now inhabit. Not because you forced it into being, but because you remembered it into existence. You dared to believe in what the eyes could not yet see. You dared to act in harmony with the song your soul was singing long before the world learned to listen. This is not the end. It is the beginning of a life lived from the inside out. A life no longer defined by circumstance, but by consciousness. A life where pretending is no longer necessary because what once was imagined has now become the atmosphere you breathe. And so you breathe, as if it's already here, because it is. ChatGPT Danoi, breathe as if you are no longer waiting, because waiting is born from separation, and you, my dear, are one with the whole. Let your breath become your agreement with the divine, an exhale that says, I trust, and an inhale that says, I receive. Each moment becomes a sacred exchange, not of striving, but of surrender. You are no longer chasing your future like a shadow across the floor. You are sitting in the light, and the shadow moves because you are still. Begin to understand that pretending is not performance, it is participation. You are participating in the dance of energy and the orchestration of the formless becoming form. You are not manipulating reality. You are making yourself available to its highest intelligence. You become the clear channel, the open gate, the willing vessel. And in your willingness, the universe reveals what has always been hidden behind your hesitation, that the dream is not distant, the dream is not ahead, it is embedded in the fabric of now, waiting for your readiness to make it bloom. The garden does not grow faster by screaming at the seed. It grows because the soil is soft, the sun is steady, and the gardener trusts what she cannot yet see. And so must you soften, trust, be steady. You are not weak because you yield to something greater. You are powerful because you remember that you are not the source, but the expression of the source. Pretend not to manipulate the timing, but to harmonize with the unfolding. Live as though the miracle is already underway, because your willingness is the water that feeds its roots. There will be moments when the outside looks unchanged, when the evidence is scarce and the mind begins to doubt. But do not look outward for reassurance. Look inward for alignment. The wind cannot be seen, but its presence can be felt in the dance of the trees. And so too your transformation begins in subtle ways, in the way your voice no longer trembles, in the way your posture becomes prayer, in the way your eyes begin to see not what is missing, but what is possible. And in that possibility, you begin to taste a different kind of power, not the power to control, but the power to become. You do not chase blessings. You embody blessing. You do not beg for clarity. You become the silence that clarity rushes to enter. You do not argue with the delays. You become so still, so certain, that even the detours start to seem like direction. You no longer speak of what is lacking, because lack is no longer your language. You speak now in the native tongue of the soul presence, peace, reverence, enoughness. Watch how life begins to meet you with a new rhythm when you cease to chase its music. Watch how what once eluded you now begins to arrive, not rushed, but right on time. You are not magnetic because you convince. You are magnetic because you believe, because your being becomes a beacon to the things that were already destined to find you once you stopped hiding from your own light. So let the world say what it will. Let the noise carry on outside the temple of your stillness. Let the critics whisper, the skeptics scoff, the doubts dance at the edge of your consciousness. You owe no one proof of your inner alignment. What is real in spirit need not be visible to the untrained eye. A pearl is not less precious because it hides inside a shell. A truth is not less real because it has yet to materialize. It is your belief, your vibration, your unwavering surrender that sanctifies it. And you, beloved soul, are no longer available for the life that waits to begin. You are available only for the life that is already here, humming beneath your skin, rising through your awareness like dawn through the trees. You are no longer interested in timelines and evidence and guarantees. You have chosen the sacred path of trust, the kind of trust that doesn't need a reason because it remembers the source, the kind of trust that creates the conditions for grace to land. And grace, when it arrives, does not shout. It settles like light on water, quiet, certain, complete, just like you. ChatGPT, Danoi, there comes a moment in every awakening soul where the choice is no longer between action and stillness, but between resistance and allowing. The river does not force itself toward the sea. It flows because it remembers where it came from. And so must you remember that what you call pretending is simply alignment unacknowledged, that what you imagine is not fantasy but foresight. You are not a passive observer of life. You are the dreamer through whom life takes shape. You are the breath through which the infinite breathes itself into form. Let your posture be that of one who knows, not one who waits. Let your stillness be bold. Let your silence speak like thunder, for you are no longer bound to the need for external validation. You are no longer dancing for the applause of a world that forgot its own rhythm. You are moving to the tempo of truth now. A truth not borrowed from books or borrowed beliefs, but born within, from that place where the divine placed its whisper inside you before you were even given a name. And what is that whisper saying? It is saying, act as though the miracle has already occurred. Walk as though the path has already opened. Give thanks as though the gift is already in your hands. Because gratitude is not a reaction to what you receive, it is the magnet for what you are ready to hold. And nothing aligns you more swiftly with what you are becoming than sincere, undemanding thanks for what is already on its way. The heart does not ask for permission to beat. It does not wait until the conditions are perfect. It pulses because life is its nature. And so must your vision pulse within you, not waiting, not doubting, not asking, but being, becoming, believing with a quiet fierceness that cannot be shaken by appearances. There will be days when the wind seems strong, when the old stories rise like ghosts from forgotten corners, when the voice of doubt whispers, this isn't real. And in those moments, you do not fight. You do not explain. You simply return to the breath, return to the truth, return to the silent knowing that lives beyond the noise. Because pretending, when done from the soul, is the most sacred form of remembering. Remembering that you were not born to fit into a pre-written script. You were born to author the truth from the core of your being, to sculpt your life from the clay of consciousness, not from the architecture of fear. You do not pretend because you are empty. You pretend because you are full, so full of possibility, of purpose, of presence, that the old reality can no longer contain you. And as you expand, you begin to see differently. You begin to notice how the trees seem to bow in your direction, how the wind feels like a message, how the smallest synchronicities are not coincidences, but confirmations. Life becomes less of a puzzle and more of a poem. You no longer analyze every moment, you feel it. You no longer dissect your journey, you trust it. You no longer look outward for signs, you become the sign. And from this place, a deep gentleness returns to you. The gentleness of knowing you no longer have to earn your way into love. You no longer have to negotiate your worth. You no longer have to hustle for what already belongs to you. You begin to live not as a seeker, but as a knower. You begin to walk through the world with open palms, not clenched fists, with a quiet smile, not a disparity plea. Because now, finally, your inner world is speaking louder than your outer world. And the world begins to listen, not because you demanded it, but because your frequency changed, because your presence changed, because you changed not into someone new, but back into someone eternal. You stopped trying to get the world to believe in you and started living as if you already believed in yourself. You stopped waiting for the signs and became the signal. You stopped asking, when will it happen? And started living as if it already had. And in that holy shift, the entire universe breathed with you and whispered, it is done. ChatGPT Danoi. And so here you are, no longer looking to the horizon as if salvation waits beyond the next dawn, but rooted in this breath, this sacred now, where everything you have ever longed for is already whispering your name. You are no longer pretending, you are remembering. You are no longer rehearsing, you are revealing. And the life you once envisioned from afar now echoes from within every step you take, not because the world has changed, but because you have, because your gaze is softened and your heart is opened and your spirit finally has exhaled. You see now that pretending was never the act of fooling the world, it was the act of freeing yourself. It was the soul stretching its wings before the body caught the wind. It was the light flickering beneath closed lids, preparing to rise. It was the divine in you saying, I have not forgotten, even as your mind grasped for proof, and now you no longer seek confirmation. You no longer need the mirror to reflect what you know in your marrow. The truth no longer comes to visit, it lives here now. It has taken up residence in your breath, in your silence, in your steady, unwavering presence. There is no need to convince anyone of your becoming. There is no need to narrate your unfolding. The rose does not shout its arrival. The sun does not explain its warmth. You do not need to prove what is already felt. Your life, lived in alignment, becomes its own quiet revolution, a light in the dark for those who have forgotten. A reminder that it is safe to believe before the world confirms it, that it is holy to walk by faith and not by sight. And as you walk, you no longer move from striving but from surrender. You no longer ask, what must I do? But instead, what must I allow? You are no longer the sculptor chiseling away at a block of stone. You are the open sky receiving the Sunday. You are the vessel that knows it is already full. You are the field that trusts the rain will come, not because you command the clouds, but because you know how to wait in reverent stillness. And in that stillness you are met, not with fireworks, not with thunder, but with something far more, sacred peace. The kind of peace that does not depend on circumstances, the kind of peace that does not leave when the winds return, the kind of peace that is not earned, but remembered. You do not need to chase what is already inside you. You do not need to fight for what your soul already holds. Let every thought now be a blessing. Let every step now be a prayer. Let every silence be filled with the holy music of your being. You are no longer waiting. You are no longer seeking. You are no longer pretending. You are being, and being is enough. It always has been. And now you know there will come a dawn, unlike any other, gentle and hushed, when you will wake not to the clamor of demands or the shadows of longing, but to a silence so full, so infinite, that it speaks to the deepest part of you. On this sacred morning, whether in a quiet room, beneath the hush of early sun, or in the soft ache of your heart's solitude, you will sense a question, ancient and pure, rising from the depths. What if it's already yours? Pause and breathe, for within this question is a mystery and a key, a wisdom sung by sages and whispered by your soul since the beginning of time. What if all that you have sought, peace, freedom, wholeness, love, has never been a distant prize to chase, but a hidden inheritance, waiting in silent readiness, aching for your recognition? What if the life you yearn for is not a place you arrive, but a reality you awaken to in this very breath? It's already yours, the still voice says. Live that way. Ah, in the gentle tradition of the Tao Te Ching, I invite you not to strive, but to return to the truth beneath all stories, to the ground beneath all wandering. This is not a journey of becoming, but of unveiling, not a path of accumulation, but of surrender. For you are not here to chase worth across deserts of longing, but to rediscover the living water within your own soul. You are not a beggar at the gate of existence. You are the beloved of the infinite, called by name, endowed with the boundless gifts of spirit and creation. Look deeply, with eyes that see beyond the surface of things. You have been taught to see yourself as incomplete, as one day to be made whole by effort, achievement, or approval. You have been trained to believe that love is something to be earned, that worth is something to be proven, that peace is a rare oasis glimpsed only after struggle. But what if this was all a dream, a necessary sleep for the soul, but a dream nonetheless? What if you are waking now to a greater truth? You are not the roles you have played, the names you have answered, the body that carries you through the seasons. You are not your history or your hurts, your triumphs or your titles. You are not the mask, but the face behind it. Not the story, but the silent page on which the story is written. Like sunlight mistaken for the lamp that holds it, your true self has been veiled only by identification with the fleeting and the false. Yet behind every experience, through every tide of fortune, there has always been a steady light, a consciousness untouched by time, a presence beyond all fear, an I am that abides when all else falls away. Do you feel it now? The quiet, invulnerable core of your being, alive and eternal, untouched by circumstance. This is your real nature, your divine identity, your original face before the world told you who to be. The mystics called it Atman, Christ within, Buddha nature, the pure awareness that witnesses, loves, and endures, even as all else changes. And what does this mean for you, beloved soul? It means that you need not seek outside yourself for that which you already are. The peace you chase in distant places, the love you yearn to receive, the joy you hope to possess, they are not external treasures, but inner realities waiting for your acceptance. The search is not to bring in, but to draw out, not to add, but to reveal, not to strive, but to allow. So much of your suffering has come from forgetting this truth. The world whispers that you are lacking, that happiness lies just beyond the next hill, that fulfillment must be earned or achieved. The ego, frightened and fragile, measures life in terms of more approval, more accomplishment, more security, more control. Yet the soul, ancient and knowing, calls you gently to less, striving, less judgment, less resistance, less noise. In the space of less, you rediscover the everything that is already yours. Imagine standing before a mirror fogged by years of breath and belief. You cannot see your own reflection, and so you begin to look elsewhere, hoping to catch a glimpse of yourself in the eyes of others, in the praise of the world, in the accumulation of symbols. Yet the mirror only needs to be wiped clean. The truth of who you are has never been absent, only obscured. With every moment of stillness, with every act of acceptance, you polish the glass, and the radiant face of your own soul shines forth, undiminished by the passage of time. This is the great paradox at the heart of spiritual awakening. Nothing needs to be added. Everything must be unveiled. You do not heal by acquiring a new self, but by releasing all that is not you. You do not awaken by climbing the ladder of achievement, but by sinking into the ground of being. You do not become whole by gathering more, but by letting go of the old stories, the borrowed fears, the ancient defenses that have kept you from your natural state. You are not here to prove your worth. You are here to remember it. You are not here to win love. You are here to radiate it. You are not here to chase freedom. You are here to discover you have always been free. What then is left to do? Only this: to live as if it's already yours. To walk in the world with the quiet confidence of one who has nothing to prove, nothing to protect, nothing to lose. To breathe as if every breath is a prayer of gratitude. To see as if the divine peers through your eyes at itself in all things. To give, not out of emptiness, but from the overflowing fullness that is the truth of your being. Let your life become a testament to sufficiency. Let your actions arise from a sense of inner wealth, not inner lack. When you create, let it be the overflow of joy. When you serve, let it be the expression of completeness. When you love, let it be the reflection of a heart that knows itself as love. Consider the lilies of the field, said the teacher, how they neither toil nor spin. Yet even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. The lily does not fret about its beauty or worth. It simply blooms. It trusts the soil, the sun, the rain. It opens to life without resistance. In its being, it glorifies the source that made it. So too with you. Your worth is not up for debate. Your right to joy is not conditional. Your beauty is not measured by comparison. You glorify the divine not by striving, but by being fully yourself. As Rumi wrote, you are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. The wave does not need permission to rise and fall. It is already the movement of the sea. Live, then, as if your inheritance has already been given, because it has. Act not from hunger, but from the banquet that is your true nature. Trust that the universe is for you, not against you. Trust that life's intelligence flows through you, arranging all things for your highest good, even when appearances seem otherwise. This is not passivity. This is the most radical form of participation. When you root yourself in wholeness, you become a vessel for grace, an agent of healing, a channel for miracles. You cease to grasp and begin to give. You cease to compete and begin to collaborate. You cease to defend and begin to disarm. The world is transformed not by force, but by the silent radiation of truth from those who have awakened to their own divine nature. Do not wait for permission. Do not wait for the world to agree. The world cannot grant what it did not give. Your worth is established by the infinite, your belonging by the very act of creation. You are here because the universe desired you. You are here because life itself could not be complete without your song. Rest now in this knowing. Let your breath anchor you to the present, where all miracles are born. Let your heart open to the mystery, where all healing takes place. Let your mind become still enough to receive the wisdom that has waited lifetimes for your return. This is the true revolution, not the endless pursuit of becoming, but the sacred art of being. Not the loud declaration of I will be, but the quiet realization of I am. Not the anxious scramble for more, but the gentle acceptance that nothing is missing. When you live this way, miracles become ordinary. Synchronicities abound. Doors open of their own accord. The right people appear, the right opportunities arise, not because you have forced life to comply, but because you have aligned with its deeper flow. You have become the yes that life has always been waiting for. You begin to sense the hidden order beneath the surface chaos. You begin to see with new eyes, the eyes of spirit, which recognize only unity, only possibility, only love. The distinctions between mine and yours, self and other, begin to blur, and in their place arises a sense of communion so deep it transcends words. You realize that what you bless in another, you bless in yourself. That what you withhold from the world, you deny to your own heart. This is the secret of true abundance. It is not a matter of acquisition, but of realization. Not a question of what you can get, but of what you can give. The wealth of your soul is measured not in possessions, but in presence. The treasure is not outside, but within. Sit quietly and ask yourself, what am I still chasing? Whose approval am I still seeking? What emptiness am I trying to fill with noise, with busyness, with more? Let the questions hang in the air, without judgment, without hurry. Beneath every craving is a deeper yearning to remember your own completeness, to come home to the self that cannot be improved or diminished. Release the old idea that you must earn your place at the table of life. You are not a guest here, you are family. You belong not because you have met some standard, but because you are an expression of the very intelligence that spins galaxies and sings through birds. And the miracle is not that you exist, but that you have existed all along as the secret, silent center of your own seeking. What does it mean then to live as if it's already yours? It means to trust the timing of your own becoming, to honor the seasons of rest as much as the seasons of growth, to know that nothing truly yours can ever be taken, and nothing not meant for you can ever satisfy. It means to relinquish the struggle, to surrender the need to control, to open your hands and let grace move you where it will. You are the dreamer and the dream, the canvas and the paint, the beloved and the lover. You are both the question and the answer, the path and the homecoming, the ache and the fulfillment. The entire universe turns within you, as you, for you. When challenges arise, do not shrink. Let them become your teachers, your initiations into greater self-trust. When loss visits, let it empty you of all that is not essential, so that only truth remains. When the ego shouts that you are not enough, respond with the quiet certainty of one who knows, I am, I always have been, I always will be. Forgive yourself for forgetting. The forgetting was necessary, brought you to this moment of remembrance. Every detour, every disappointment, every heartbreak was the brushstroke of a loving hand, guiding you back to center. Do not regret the journey, bless it. It made you ready to receive the truth that could not be forced, only invited, only allowed. And now, the invitation is open, the banquet is laid. The only requirement is your presence, your willingness to see yourself as you truly are, whole, holy, home. This is the place from which all healing flows. This is the state from which all dreams are born. When you live as if it's already yours, you become a living blessing, a walking permission slip for others to remember their own light. Let your life become a silent teaching. Let your presence do the work that words cannot. Walk softly, love deeply, give freely, knowing that you cannot exhaust the infinite because you are one with its source. In every moment, ask yourself, what would I do if I truly believed it's already mine? How would I move? How would I speak? How would I love? How would I forgive? Let your answers become your practice, your prayer, your path. Do not be discouraged by the mind's doubts or the world's noise. The mind is a faithful servant, but a poor master. Its doubts are the clouds, but you are the sky. The world's noise is the river, but you are the bedrock beneath. Let the doubts come and go. The opinions rise and fall. The circumstances shift and change. Your essence remains, silent and serene, the unmoved witness of all. You are not here to add to your self-image, but to dissolve it. You are not here to win the approval of others, but to bless them by living your truth. You are not here to secure your place in a fleeting world, but to realize your eternal belonging in a universe of love. Let your days become an unfolding prayer. Let your nights be a return to peace. Let every challenge become a doorway, every encounter a mirror, every breath a reunion with the sacred. There is nowhere you must arrive, nothing you must become, no prize you must win. It is already yours. Even now, as you read these words, something ancient stirs. It is the memory of who you have always been, beneath the layers of fear and forgetting. Let this memory grow, let it blossom, let it light the way forward. And as it does, know this: you do not walk alone. The same presence that brought you here walks with you, within you, as you. May your days be blessed with the courage to receive. May your nights be blessed with the peace of surrender. May your life become a living affirmation of the truth that cannot be spoken, only known in the silent chambers of the heart. Live then, not as a seeker, but as a finder, not as a beggar, but as a beloved child of the infinite, not as a stranger in a foreign land, but as the very land itself, the ground of being in which all things grow. It's already yours. Live that way. Let the world adjust to your radiance. Let life unfold from the fullness you embody. Let love become your language and truth your song. For in the end, there is nothing left to seek, only everything to remember. Nothing left to chase, only everything to allow. Nothing left to earn, only everything to become conscious of. You are the light. You are the way. You are the living proof that the divine has never left the world. It shines quietly and eternally through you. May you walk gently, love fiercely, and awaken daily to the miracle of your own being. May you never again doubt your place in the universe or the rightness of your existence. May you come to know, beyond all knowing, that what you have sought so long and so bravely is and always has been already yours. Live that way, and let your life be the answer to the question the world has forgotten to ask. For you are whole, you are free, you are home. And now, beloved, awaken, awaken, and live. And so, as the soft tide of realization begins to move through you, you notice how the world itself responds to this inner awakening. It's as if the very air grows lighter, as if each moment begins to shimmer with possibility, awaiting only your conscious participation. You see, the universe is not indifferent to your awareness. It mirrors back the tone of your inner song. When you dwell in the sanctuary of sufficiency, life meets you not with obstacles but invitations, each day, each person, each circumstance, conspiring to call forth the fullness that is your birthright. In this sacred state, striving falls away. You are no longer a leaf tossed by the winds of circumstance, but the tree whose roots drink deeply from the unseeable source. You begin to witness a harmony that does not depend on conditions. It is a melody arising from the center of your being, resonant with the wisdom of ages, echoing the knowing of Lao Tzu, who whispered that all things are accomplished by doing nothing, not out of apathy, but because you have ceased to oppose the natural flow. You trust in the unfolding. You become the space in which miracles appear. Let yourself become silent, if only for a breath, and notice what remains when all else subsides. That presence, quiet but undeniable, is the foundation upon which all true transformation stands. You do not need to grasp at life, for you are already held by it. The hands of the divine are beneath you always, even when you cannot see them. Your every need is known, every longing cherished, every question already met with a deeper wisdom that answers in silence. Begin now to notice how the subtle grip of old fears loosens in the light of this awareness. Anxiety, once so persistent, becomes transparent and frail. It cannot withstand the gaze of a soul that remembers its origin. For how could you ever lack for anything when you are an emanation of the infinite? How could you be alone when you are inseparable from the one that gave you breath? Doubt fades as certainty arises, not the brittle certainty of rigid belief, but the living confidence that comes from knowing yourself as a wave belonging utterly to the ocean. Each step you take in this remembrance is a quiet revolution. No longer do you walk the world as a seeker haunted by emptiness, but as a living expression of wholeness itself. There is a grace in your presence, a soft radiance that touches those you meet, sometimes without a word, sometimes only with a glance. In this space, compassion flows effortlessly, because judgment has no roots in the ground of being. You see through the masks others wear, recognizing in their eyes the same spark that animates your own heart. You may begin to notice that forgiveness now arises naturally, not as an effort, but as a result of clarity. The wounds of the past, once so defining, become windows clear open, allowing light to pour through. Resentments dissolve in the healing waters of present awareness. You find yourself free to bless even those who once caused pain, for you know now that nothing real can ever be threatened and nothing unreal ever truly existed. All that remains is love, expansive, forgiving, undemanding. There is a humility that blooms when you awaken to this truth, not the humility that belittles, but the humility that bows in awe before the vastness within. You recognize that your story is both unique and universal, that your journey is both solitary and shared. You walk softly, honoring the mystery that weaves all beings together, and you find yourself guided by an inner compass whose needle always points toward kindness. As this state deepens, you become aware of the gentle guidance that has been present all along. Intuition, once dismissed as fancy, now stands revealed as the voice of your deepest knowing. You trust the gentle nudges, the quiet urgings, the sudden inspirations that arise from stillness. No longer bound by the tyranny of overthinking, you learn to move in harmony with life's unfolding choreography, each choice a step in the sacred dance. The boundary between effort and grace grows thin, until you no longer remember where one ends and the other begins. Your work becomes worship, your rest becomes restoration, your presence becomes prayer. You give yourself wholly and without reserve to the moment at hand, not in obligation, but in devotion. Each ordinary act is infused with the extraordinary, for you have remembered that the divine lives not just in grand gestures, but in the simplest tasks performed with an open heart. And as you embody this truth, fear of the future loses its grip. Worry about what may come is replaced by a quiet faith in the rightness of all things. You understand finally that you are always exactly where you need to be, that the journey is never ahead or behind, but always unfolding within. You trust the process, allowing life to reveal its gifts in its own time, in its own way. Those around you may sense this transformation before you fully realize it yourself. They may find themselves softened by your presence, comforted by your calm, inspired by your example. Without intention or strategy, you become a living invitation for others to awaken to their own enoughness. Your joy is not loud, but it is contagious. Your peace does not demand, but it is magnetic. You begin to see beauty everywhere, not only in the perfect, but in the unfinished, the broken, the becoming. The world reveals itself as a work in progress, a poem forever being written, a song always singing itself anew. You become a lover of the incomplete, a friend to uncertainty, a companion to change. The need to control falls away, replaced by a childlike wonder at the infinite forms love can take. In this openness, you realize that true abundance is not measured by what you hold, but by what you are willing to release. Letting go becomes a celebration, not a sacrifice. You discover the paradox that the more you trust, the more is given, the more you loosen your grip, the more life places in your hands. Generosity arises not from duty, but from the joy of seeing the sacred in all things. And so you walk on, not hurried, not hesitant, but steady and serene. The wind of spirit moves through you, shaping each day, each breath, each encounter into an opportunity for deeper knowing. You realize there is no need to strive for enlightenment, for it is not a destination, but a way of seeing, a way of loving, a way of being wholly present to what is. In this space, gratitude flows unbidden. You thank the sky for its vastness, the earth for its steadiness, the people in your life for their part in your remembering. Even your challenges become blessings, each one a reminder to return again to the center, again to the source, again to the truth that cannot be shaken. Nothing is missing, nothing is wasted, everything belongs. This is the new inheritance, unconditional, unearned, unending. And as you live into this truth, you become what you have always sought, a clear vessel, a willing heart, a living answer to the silent question at the center of all things. And as the circle gently closes, as night yields again to the soft unveiling of dawn, feel the holy quiet that fills the space within you. Here, in the hush that follows all seeking, you recognize at last the subtle miracle of being, of existing just as you are, with nothing to amend, no more battles to fight within yourself. This is the sanctuary untouched by the world's commotion, the temple of pure presence, where the soul rests in its original peace. Breathe it in, this sacred fullness. Let it soak into every cell, every memory, every longing that ever told you something was missing. You have wandered far in search of answers, and all along the answer was the light you carried unseen, perhaps beneath burdens, behind old sorrows but never extinguished. Now, as you surrender even the need to understand, what remains is not a conclusion, but a new beginning, the permission to simply be, and in being, to witness the boundless grace that has always sustained you, The heart, free from the labor of proving, opens with effortless compassion. The mind, released from endless rehearsal, becomes a quiet sky. The body, no longer armored for a distant war, softens and comes home to itself. And in this homecoming, you realize you were never lost, only dreaming of separation. Let this awareness wash over you like rain upon parched earth. Feel the gentle dissolving of all that is not essential, all that was borrowed, all that was armored against the imagined absence of love. With each breath, the old scaffolding of striving falls away, revealing the indestructible core that has always been your true inheritance. Here, you are both ancient and newborn. Here, you are the silence behind all sound, the space that allows all forms, the witness of each passing mood. Here you are, the infinite in a single heartbeat, the echo of the divine remembering itself through the gift of your existence. You do not need to rise above this world to touch the sacred. You need only to see it where you are. The holy is not somewhere else, reserved for the worthy or the pure. It is what shimmers in the ordinary when seen with eyes of love. Washing a cup, you meet the sacred. Holding a hand, you bless the cosmos. Whispering words of kindness, you echo the voice of eternity. No grand pilgrimage is needed, only the return, again and again, to this immediate presence, this unrepeatable moment. Release now the last illusion that anything is required of you but presence. There is no scale weighing your worth, no ledger recording your value, no outer authority standing between you and the source of life. All the old debts have been forgiven, all the unfinished business is swept clean in the tide of this awareness. What remains is the simplicity of now, the humility to receive, the courage to accept, the grace to allow yourself to be exactly as you are. Let gratitude arise not as a duty, but as the spontaneous song of a soul reunited with itself. Give thanks for the journey, with all its beauty and bewilderment, for the teachers, both gentle and fierce, for the detours and the homecomings, for the longing that kept calling you deeper. Bless the path, for it brought you here to the unguarded joy of enoughness. Walk on now, without hurry, without fear. There is no destination greater than this awakened presence. Every step is blessed, not because of where it leads, but because of who walks it, aware, awake, remembering. Each day is a new page for your unfolding story, not a story of striving, but a testament to what is possible when you trust that all is already given. If you ever forget, return to stillness. If you ever doubt, lay your hand upon your heart and feel the rhythm of your own existence, a rhythm that belongs to no one else, that needs no justification, that proves your place in the vastness of all things. Let this be your practice, not to achieve but to align, not to conquer but to surrender, not to seek but to see. For everything you once believed was distant is in truth the substance of your own being. The world will continue its noise, its rhythms, its illusions, but you will have found the quiet wellspring that cannot be disturbed. You will move through the hours anchored by something silent, generous, and unbreakable. You will become, effortlessly, a lighthouse steady, welcoming, shining, not to be seen, but to illuminate the way for all who wander. Let your life answer every question, not with explanation, but with presence. Let your smile be a prayer, your silence a blessing, your existence a hymn to the truth that cannot be spoken but is felt in the marrow of every soul. It's already yours. Wholeness, belonging, peace, and purpose, these are not distant gifts, but the atmosphere you now breathe. Live as the one who knows this, not in arrogance, but in humility, not by withdrawing from life, but by pouring yourself into it with open hands. And so, as you step forth, do not ask, what must I do? But how fully can I be here? Do not ask, what do I need to find? But what do I have to give? For the secret has always been this: you are what you seek, you have what you need, you are already home. This is the quiet revolution of the soul. This is the great unveiling. This is the love that needs no reason, the joy that precedes all circumstance, the freedom that is not given or taken but recognized. In the name of all that is sacred, walk gently, love deeply, and shine, knowing at last, with unshakable certainty, that it's already yours. Live that way.